Today, what we hope is the last update concerning Kong and the kings thereof. This is Checkpoint. Welcome to Checkpoint, where this week we are finally back after enduring the 7 plagues of games journalism.
GDC.
4-day PAX.
Water turning to Monster Energy drink.
PAX Pox.
Reign of Froggers.
Death of the Firstborn save files.
Tears of blood, possibly from excessive energy drink consumption.
So, needless to say, it's been a busy couple weeks. It's time to set your plans in order for prom, which seems early, it only being April, but I guess prior planning is good. In any event, Fortnite is seeing an uptick in people using the game's base building mechanic to craft elaborate promposals to ask out their dates for what American media tells us is the most important event of high school life. Of course, only some of the challenge is actually managing the micro of building giant letters that say prom while not being shot at. You've also got to somehow do it without your potential date seeing it until the right time. In fact, it apparently took one Reddit user 15 tries. Also, if you're already playing Fortnite with the person, I feel like you got a fairly good shot anyway, but hey, no reason not to go all in on presentation. Using Fortnite to ask someone to prom might seem a little, is it the children who are wrong? To me, but then so does the entire concept of a promposal. At my high school, we asked each other to the dance in the traditional way, turning your stomach into an ever more dense anxiety ball until you bail out of the idea completely and just go stag.
Sega is commemorating the 30th anniversary of the Genesis by taking a page out of Nintendo's book. They're releasing a mini version called the Mega Mini Drive. Before you get your hopes up, though, be aware that Sega isn't getting back into the hardware business. The company is working with AtGames to make the Mega Drive Mini, which, because AtGames has actually already made and released a different retro version of the Genesis called the Sega Genesis Flashback, makes a bit of sense. But unfortunately, according to all the reviews I found, the Sega Genesis Flashback wasn't very good. You'll probably also want to know that starting this summer, Sega is releasing a whole load of their classic titles on the Nintendo Switch, including Phantasy Star and Sonic the Hedgehog. So who is the target market then for the Mega Mini Drive? It's people who owned an original Genesis and are looking for the most authentic and nostalgic childhood experience they could possibly recreate, being jealous of your friend's Nintendo because that system is better and has more games.
If you've followed Checkpoint for a while, you know we're big fans of creative ways to deal with trolls and griefers, typically banishing them to some sort of in-game purgatory or altering their game in some kind of meaningful yet hidden way as punishment since they ruined the game for others. That said, you would think that FCB Chicago, a marketing agency with an impressive list of corporate clients, would understand why The Bully Hunters was going to be a bad idea. Launched last week with a live stream event, the Bully Hunters campaign was a partnership between a marketing company and hardware maker SteelSeries to fight online in-game harassment of women. The concept being, if you're a woman being harassed in Counter-Strike Global Offensive, you can call in the Bully Hunters, a self-described, quote, vigilante hit squad of elite female gamers, one of whom would join your game and eliminate the offending player. It sounds funny for a couple of seconds, and then you realize that escalating aggression is about the last thing you want to do with a bully, and that's just one red flag. So they get killed in a game of CSGO, then what happens? That's how the game works. So you have to then tell them, you just got owned by a bully hunter. That's only going to make them more upset at the original victim, who will probably have to leave the game anyway. Apart from anything else, what if the bully is actually just a very good player and the bully hunter can't take them out? This is not a functional system to counteract harassment. Criticisms of the campaign ramped up following its announcement, but it all came to a head during the premiere live stream that used staged and pre-recorded interactions to illustrate how a bully hunt would go without being clear that it wasn't real. They also gave uncited gaming and mental health statistics that seemed to exist more in the realm of fear-mongering than facts, and after all of it, it was unclear how, if at all, any of this was meant to stop or even reduce harassment. The biggest critique was that this whole thing was just a marketing ploy to sell headsets, which, I mean, it was organized by a marketing company who found hardware sponsors to partner with and actual advocacy groups who should have known better to give it the appearance of legitimacy, all of whom are now distancing themselves from the campaign as official Bully Hunters social media accounts are shuttered. Which makes it even worse, because here's what SteelSeries said, quote, The way bully hunters represented the gaming community was wrong and disingenuous. Most gamers don't experience harassment. No, they don't, but many do, and now you're recoiling so far from advocacy that you're minimizing the problem entirely. Harassment is a real thing, especially of women in the gaming space. That's not something they made up. But this isn't remotely the way to do something about it. And what makes me upset about how they handled this is how it makes the people who care look stupid. By using stilted, awkward, fake clips, it makes it look like this stuff doesn't happen. I can't believe a group of adults were involved in this.
And in news we all saw coming news, Billy Mitchell, the self-proclaimed king of Kong and controversial high-score chaser from the earliest days of gaming, has had his record stripped from him by Twin Galaxies and the Guinness Book of World Records. To catch everyone up, back in January, we reported that Twin Galaxies forum member Jeremy Zelenia Young had accused Mitchell of using a MAME emulator to record his record 2010 world record Donkey Kong score, rather than a genuine arcade machine. Now, Twin Galaxies, an organization that tracks video game high scores, forbids this because emulators can be used to give players advantages. So after an arbitration process described by Twin Galaxies as lengthy, Mitchell has been stripped of all his records. Mitchell, for his part, has released a statement saying that he will prove witnesses and documents that will show that everything has been done and everything was done professionally. I personally look forward to seeing Mitchell's evidence and will file it immediately in my Who Cares folder. Seriously, Billy, you heard Graham. Kids are asking each other to prom in Fortnite now. Like, learn PUBG or something.
So you're telling Billy Mitchell to get good?
Yes. Not because I think he'll do it, but because I am sick of reporting on a high-score fixing cartel made up of people who are old enough to know better.
But what if he does get good?
Then he can join the Overwatch League. They clearly love drama.
Ooh, savage.
No, I see him more as a Dallas Fuel player. Coming up, THQ Nordic has announced the company is going to skip this year's E3 because it conflicts with the FIFA World Cup. According to a press release, rather than make the trek to Los Angeles and participate in E3's meaningless orgies of marketing dollars and misguided publicity stunts, the developer has opted to let staff stay home, drink some cold brews in Vienna's famous beer gardens, and watch football. Can't imagine why. Did it sound like I said gardens?
A little bit?
It
Did
did.
I really?
A little.
Well, I said gardens.
I'll allow it.
I mean, they are famous.
Yeah, the famous Gardens.